Okay, so we are moving to the next section from that chapter 7, which is the asset replacement decision, SFM, capital budgeting. Asset replacement decision now. What we have discussed so far is that we have discussed the point whereby we want to make a decision on how to finance the assets. Either you are borrowing money, you are buying, or you are going for lease. And I said you can either go for finance lease or operating lease. And we try to practicalize one or two examples to illustrate that. So now we are moving to the section. Another one is what? Asset replacement decision. Here we are looking at decision about when you have an old asset, at what point will you replace such an asset? You have a car, you want to make a decision that how many years do you use the asset before you replace it? Should you be using replace every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, or every 10 years? Depends on your decision criteria that you use. So let's look at it now. The nature of asset replacement. I'm reading from page 195 from our archive pack. 195. An asset replacement decision involves deciding how frequently a non-current asset should be replaced when it is in regular use, so that when the asset reaches the end of its useful life, it will be replaced by an identical asset. Can you see now? So it means that when you have used an asset for a particular period of time, then you think of how to replace it. Don't forget, it's to be an asset that you are using regularly. Then how or when do you replace them? So in other words, this type of decision is about identifying the most appropriate useful economic life of a non-current asset and how frequently it will be replaced. How frequently it should be what? Replaced. Should we replace every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, and like that. So how we are here we are not dealing with one-off decision, but about whether or not to acquire the asset. Instead, we are deciding when to replace an asset we are currently using with another new asset, and then when the new asset has to use up, replace it again with another identical asset, and so on in perpetuity. That is, when you have another asset, you use it for 3 years, replace it, another 3 years, replace it into perpetuity, for the foreseeable future. Now, we are evaluating the circle of replacing the machine, considering the various options for how long we should keep it before replacing it. How long we should keep the asset before we replace it. The short rule is that the preferred replacement cycle for an asset should be the least cost replacement cycle. This is the frequency of replacement that minimize the PV of cost. Now, what I say this, when you want to replace an asset, you should consider the cycle that is most cheapest one. Let me give you this scenario. If you buy a generator, for the first 1 year, the cost you need is just servicing. Even for that 1 year, you can service just once or twice. Just change the oil. After 2 years, the cost of maintenance will be what? Will be increasing. 3 years increasing. That means the more the asset is coming aged, the more the maintenance cost will be increasing. Now, so when I say that, to avoid unnecessary costs, you should be thinking of when to replace it. So when I say that, if you choose 2 years or you choose 3 years, you must compare the cost of running the machine. Compare it, the one for 1 year, compare it to the one for 2 years, compare it to the one for 3 years, and you pick the sample that gives you the least cost. That gives you what? The least cost. But the major challenge here is that when you are trying to compare, look at this machine. If you use the asset for 1 year, the cost you will incur here for maintaining your only cost here will be lower if you look at it in the absolute time figure. The cost you will incur to run this machine for just 1 year will be smaller than when you use it for 2 years. Abi, am I talking? You buy fuel, oil for 1 year compared to cost you for 2 years. Which one will be cheaper? 1 year. Then the cost for 2 years will be cheaper for what to what? 3 years like that. Abi, if you are looking at it like this, in absolute like this, then you are wrong. You are what? You are wrong because you cannot just simply compare the cost for 1 year with the cost for 2 years, with the cost for 3 years. Automatically, this one will be much cheaper than the other ones. So that's why when we are dealing with an asset replacement cost, there is a simple model or method that we use to be able to compare, which we call what? Equivalent annual cost. What do I call it? Equivalent annual cost. This techniques is that you are trying to bring all these costs over the 2 years, over the 1 year, over 2 years, over 3 years. You are trying to bring them to the same what? To the same level before you compare. Am I talking now? You are trying to bring all these costs, this cost from here, before year 1 low, for year 2 low, for year 3 low. You are trying to bring them to the same level before you compare. Because once they are now on the same level, that means they are now on the same parallel measurement level. Then that's when you can now work, you cannot compare. You cannot just compare looking at the what at the figure like that. So the question now that you ask yourself is this: when you are considering asset replacement cost, asset replacement disorder, what are the relevant costs? What are the what? Don't forget last time I told you that when you are making decision between buy and lease, there are relevant costs. I give you how many relevant costs? 6 relevant costs. Abi 3 go for time, 3 go for finances, and 2 go for preservation. And by now you should know the relevant costs. Afar, if you let go, when I buy, if you are buying, what are the relevant costs? Because of the asset. Another one, number 3, tax savings or capital allowance. If you are looking for finance lease, what are the relevant costs? On finance lease. Relevant cost for finance lease. Rental payment, yes. No, for finance lease. Zino, what are the relevant costs? Tax savings on capital allowance, rental payment, the tax savings on interest rate implicit in the lease. Then Adebola, oh, like in the Morukwe. Anybody like in the month in Morukwe. Ademola, what are the relevant costs for operating lease? Yes. The rental payment. Which savings? Tax savings on the rental payment. Please, you must make sure that you are very conversant with those relevant costs. Because once you know those relevant costs, you are good to go. Now let's start come now to the asset replacement now. The relevant cost of asset replacement. Once you know the relevant cost, you are within your. Let's look at number 1. The following cash flows that must be considered when making the asset replacement decisions are as follows. 1, the capital cost. The what? Capital cost. So the relevant cost now, the relevant cost. 1, the capital cost. That is the cost of the asset. I mean, the cost price of the asset. The cost price. So the cost price of the asset is one of the, because you forget that if you want to replace, you have to buy. I mean, so the cost of that asset is what is relevant. Number 2, the maintenance and operating cost over the years. Let me call it running cost. Running cost. The running cost of the assets. Because if you want to make a decision, any money that you are spending on that asset to maintain it, to run it, you realize that I use the word running cost. So that it could be maintenance, it could be any cost that you are running on that. Then they are relevant running costs. Now, in most cases, this running cost, they will be allowed for tax. They will be what? Then the tax savings on that running cost. And what? You know, Tax savings on the running cost. Except otherwise stated that the running cost though is not what? It's not allowed for tax. Once it's allowed for tax, then it is what? It's allowed. It was, then you have to complete a tax savings on it. Am I talking now? Yes. Then this one is what? This asset that you are buying is you are automatically you'll be cleared up allowance on it that day. Tax savings on what? On capital allowance also. Tax savings on capital allowance. Then another one is the scrap value of the asset. Okay. Then sometimes they are always funny. They will give you any other relevant cost that you will incur as a direct consequence of replacing this asset. In other words, any other incidental or relevant cost that you will incur as a direct consequence of what? Of replacing that. They can tell you that okay, when you want to replace the asset, you have to get dealer. You have to pay dealer. Not just you have to dismantle it. When that cost that you incur in replace the asset, it's part of what? It's part of the relevant cost. So it depends on the question sometimes. So don't be so diligent or stereotype with this does fall. Because you can just bring another one in. Number one is what? Capital cost. Number two is what? Running cost. Number three is what? Taxes on the running cost. The number four, taxes on the allowance. And what? And any other cost of replacing the what? The asset is also relevant cost. The main problem with which I've discussed already. The main problem with evaluating an asset replacement decision is comparing this cost over a similar time frame. For example, how can we compare the PV of cost for asset replacement sample for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years? I said here that it doesn't make sense to just compare after like that. So you have to go. You have to bring it to what? To equivalent amount, which you call what? So for example now, you cannot simply compare the PV of cost over 2 years replacement sample with the PV of the cost over 3 years replacement sample, because you would be comparing cost over 2 years with cost over 3 years, which is not what? Which is not fair comparison. So that's why what do you do? Because you use what? Equivalent annual cost method. So the equivalent annual cost method is calculating the most cost-effective replacement sample for the as follows. For each choice replacement sample, the PV of the cost is calculated over one full replacement sample with the asset purchase in year 0 and disposed of at the end of each life sample. The PV of cost of them is converted into equivalent annual cost. Now, how do we convert the PV to equivalent annual cost? It's very simple. Just say that the PV divided by the annuity factor. Annuity factor. That is, by now you know how to do annuity in a formula. 1 minus the bracket 1 plus R is minus N over R. Then whatever you are having here, you put it here. That divided by PV, you have what? Equivalent annual cost. That's what the formula is. The PV of the cash flow divided by annuity factor of that cost capital. So in view of that, let's try to practicalize a very good example. Let's have to practicalize a very good example. The example now is page 156. Okay. Rent cost, page 196. MTN is considering the replacement policy for a particular machine which it intends to replace every year, every 2 years, or every 3 years. The machine has purchase cost of 17,000 and a maximum useful life of 3 years. The following information is also relevant. Year 1 to 3. Maintenance or running cost of the machine 1924 and 3,750. While the scrap value if sold at the end of each year are 8,000, 8,500 and what? And 4,000. The cost of the machine is 100%, 10%. I think the cost of capital is 10%. What is the optimum reverse sample? Ignore taxation. Use the equivalent annual cost of method. So let's try. Now, this question say we should ignore tax, right, Abi? Now, by saying ignore tax, a lot of problem has been solved. Am I talking now? But I want to take it now to a level that it could be examinable. As this now, nobody will examine you like this. Nobody will tell you to ignore tax in a real question. So now, let me now say like this. I'm not going to ignore tax. I will now bring in the issue of tax. Now, so let me assume now. I want to bring my rate. You can jot somewhere in your manual. I'm assume tax rate. What's tax rate?
30%.
I'm assuming tax rate is 30%.
And it's payable 1 year in arrears.
And payable in arrears. Payable 1 year in arrears. 1 year in arrears. Number 2.
Maintenance and running.
The maintenance and running costs are paid in advance. Are paid what? Are paid what? In advance. Maintenance and the running costs payable in advance. Then the asset qualify for capital allowance. So, Mary, where's your manual? Where's your park? Where's your park? Where's your original park? You have park before? It's a legal. You don't know, man. Die the class. I don't pay. Ball balance. Then the capital allowance. Capital allowance. What percent afar?
Implicit allowance is 25% on reducing.
25% on reducing balance basis. Okay. I think.
Asset is acquired at the beginning.
Oh yeah. The assets is acquired at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year. So please, these are the addition that I'm making to that question that we read on page 186. What are those things? Number 1, the tax rate is how many percent? 30%. Payable what? In 1 year in arrears, Abi. Then maintenance and running cost is payable in what? In advance, and definitely to be allowed for tax. Number 3, capital allowance is 25% on reducing balance basis. And number 4, asset is acquired at the beginning of the year. So now, what will be the best repayment sample for these assets? What will be the what? The best repayment sample for this? Is it, do we repay every year 1, or every year 2, or every year 3 years? So let's try to answer that one now. Number 1, replace the asset every 1 year. Replace the assets every 1 year. Now, the first thing should come to your mind. By now, you should understand that the relevant costs are 1, the cost of the assets, the maintenance cost and running cost of the asset, tax savings on the running cost, tax savings on the capital allowance, and the scrap value. Yeah, any other incidental cost? In this question, no other incidental cost. Now let's visualize it now. If you are to replace assets for 1 year, what does that mean? It means that you will pay for running cost for how many years? 1 year. Then you will sell asset at what price? You sell it for how much? At 8,000, Abi. Then definitely you will claim capital allowance. Abi. The let's now start. Let me start from the first page now. Let me complete my tax statement of capital allowance first. My capital allowance now. Tax savings. Tax savings on capital allowance. Okay. We have years, tax written down value, and the tax savings. The asset was acquired when? At the beginning of the year. That means the cost of the asset will be, how is it now? 17,000 less than million. Then that means by the end of year 1, you claim what? capital allowance. But don't forget, the asset was disposed of that year one. And I said, don't bother to compute capital allowance in the year in which the asset is disposed of. In that case now, how much is scrap value? I will bring the scrap. What do we have now? The balance what? Balance what? Allowance. You look at it, 9,000. So the tax is on it. How many other tax rates? 30%. 2,700. The score I did now. The asset was disposed of in year one. In the year of capital allowance, in the year of disposal, don't bother to compute your capital allowance. Like what you have here now. So with that, number 2 is the tax savings on running costs. Number 2, tax savings on running costs. In that case, since you are going to sell asset year one, how many years are you going to pay for running costs? Just one. And don't forget, the running cost is paying what? It's payable what? In advance. I've touched on board. It's payable when? In advance, have you? And I said, for the purpose of tax, nothing concern you when you pay the running cost. Year one is what? It's year one. Am I talking now? So that was running cost now. Year one. 1,900. So the tax on it. The tax savings on it now. Tax savings on it. What's our rate? 30%. How do we have? 2,700 for 30. 30 like this. Okay. We are saving it a bit. Having done that, I think that should be almost everything. Now let's now go and put our PIB. 570. Oh yeah. 570. I don't know China calculator. Now in view of this now, let's now go and compute the PV for 1 year. We have years. Year 0, then year 1, probably year 2. Now, the very important example is what? The cost now be comes when? Year 0. You know I guess 17,000 is a cost. Then the running cost of maintenance, or what you call it, is payable when? The one you pay in year 1, go back to where? Year 0. For the purpose of cash flows, you have to move it backward because it's payable what? In advance. But for the purpose of computing tax, what are you going to use it? Year 1. We are trying to tell you that the difference now. When you are computing the tax, don't bother about the timing of the cash flow. But when you are computing the PVs or NPV, you must bother yourself with what? With the timing of the cash flow. Cash flow occur in advance. That means at the beginning. I mean, go back to when? The previous year. But cash flow payable in arrears. What are you going to use now? Same here. So like this one now, year 1 go back to what? Year 0. How much do you pay year 1? 1,900. Then the scrap. Let me start from again. Tax savings on capital allowance. This is it already. When does it occur? It occur year 1, abi? When are you paying it? Payable in arrears, abi? Go to year 2. That means not here. How much do you have right now? 2,700. We are saving it. Then tax savings on running costs or maintenance costs. When does it occur? Year 1. When are you paying it now? Year 2. That will be dash and what? 570. Then the scrap value now. The scrap value. How much scrap value? When are we paying it? Year 1, abi? 8,000. Have we done this now? This is a cost of value. So our net cash flows. What do we have?
18,900.
We have 18,900. We have 8,000. We have 3,070. Then we have our net cash flow, our DCL. What are the question? 10%. So 10% for year 1 and 2. 9091. 8264. We have that on that. Let's multiply and add it together.
7,273.
7,273.
273.
Year one.
Year one, yes.
7,273.
Yes, sir. 18,900.
18,900. Abi?
Yes.
Where? So it's not a cost.
2,702.
702. They put them together. That's our PVs.
8,925.
8,925 is the cost, right?
Yes.
Don't forget, you must not stop there. You must not what? Stop there. You must take a step further by computing the what? Equivalent annual cost. So therefore, our equivalent annual cost is equal to PV over what? Annuity factor. Now, your annuity factor for year one at 10% all the way up. That same thing, that would be 0.1991. Abi? Am I talking? If you apply the formula, 1 minus 1 plus rate is what minus n over r. That would be 1 minus 1.1 is minus 1 over 0.1. You have 0.9091. So therefore, our equivalent annual cost for year one will be what our PV? 8,925 divided by 0.0991. What do we have? 817. Yeah. Cost, Abi?
Yes.
So, if you replace every year one, your equivalent annual cost is this. Let's go to replace every 2 years now. We are going to repeat the same process. Complete capital allowance for 2 years. Tax savings on non-income for 2 years. Then complete your PV for 2 years. So replacement in every 2 years. Replace the assets. Bring the assets every 2 years. Okay, the first thing is that we have to complete the capital allowance now, Abi. Am I free to rub it off? Let me manage this bit first. Then, capital allowance now. Pass, Papi, are we there? Pass savings on capital allowance. We have years, tax written down value, and the tax savings. Okay, assets acquired at the beginning of the year, Abi. Year zero. The cost is 17,000, Abi. Then we have year one with the capital allowance. On reducing balance, Abi. Okay, how many percent is it? 25% of this figure. That's 25%. 4,250. 12,750. Automatically now, year two. Don't forget, year two will be disposed of by year two, Abi.
Yes.
What we discovered now, and I said any year of disposal, don't bother to look at the allowance now. How was our scrap now? Our scrap is 5,500. By the time you subtract 7,250, gives you what? Balance what? Allowance. So that means you have to save tax here, you have to save tax here. Yeah, what do you save now? At what rate? 30%. We have before 1,275. You go 1,650. That's the amount you save. 2,175. So after done that, the next thing is to look at our tax savings on running cost. Tax savings on running cost. Don't forget our running cost. How do we pay it? Payable in what? In advance. Payable in what? In advance. Don't forget, I said for the purpose of tax, not to concern you with what? With the timing of the running cost. When year one is what? Is year one. Anytime you pay year one. So let's go now. The tax is on running cost now. Tax savings on running costs. So we have year one and year two. How's our running cost? For year one, 19. Year two call 24. So pay the tax Our tax on it,
570.
570,
720.
720. Now we've done that now, let's go and put our PVs. For how many years? For 2 years. So we have years, year 0, year 1, year 2, probably what? The time of tax. So our cost of the asset, how much is it?
17,000.
17,000. Our running cost, don't forget, the running cost is payable when?
In advance.
Payable when? In advance, have it? What we pay, the one year 1, come back to year 0. The one year 2, come back to year 1. So let's try to do it now. Year 1 is how much? 1 naira, abi? Come back here, 1 naira is the cost. The one year 2, come back to here, 2,400 is the cost. The next one is our what? Tax savings. Tax savings on the capital allowance. So don't forget, how do we pay our tax? Yes. So that means the one year 1 go to year 2. How is it? 1275. We are saving, sorry. Then the one year 2 go to year 3, that will be what? 2175. Then the running cost also. Tax on the running cost. The one year 1 also go to year 2, 570. The one year 2 go to year 3, 720. So before that, our net outflow 18,900, 2,400, 1,845, 2,895. So view of that, we have to calculate our DCL, right? This is our net outflow, our DCL at what percent now? 7%. This is 0.9091. Thank you, Jerry. How about star value? 5,000. Thank you for that. So yeah, added there. 73, 4, like this, Abi. Yeah. 826. 0.826. 4. 0.7513, Abi. Yeah, you of that.
2182.
Which one?
First year
The
1.
one.
2182.
2182.
Year 2. 6070.
Kilo pay?
6070.
6070 175. So our PVs now. Our PVs.
12,837.
12,837, Abi. I say you must not stop there, Abi. All you go for now is equivalent annual cost, Abi. So our equivalent annual cost will be the PV over annuity, Abi. Abi 12,837 divided by annuity for 2 years. 1 plus 1 minus R, 1 minus the bracket 1.1 minus 2 over 0.10. All the way up. 1.77355 like this. All the way up. 7,397. The what? The cost, Abi. So with all that, if you are to replace every 1 year, what our EAV, EAC 987, Abi, 9817. Every 2 years ago, which one is more cheaper? Let's go to the three now. Replace every 3 years now. The same procedure again. Replace every 3 years. Same procedure again.
Let's just
Proper job.
just carry
So replace every 3 years now. Replace the assets every 3 years. The same procedure again, Abi. Let's do it like this. Years, year 0, year 1, year 2, year 3, probably or year 4. But I have to extend this one now to year 3, Abi. Should I do another capital allowance somewhere? Let me do it like this. Hope you'll be able to capture it, Abi. Yeah. Tax savings on capital allowance. Happy, are we good to go? We have year 0. Now, for year 0, what do we have? The cost, 17,000. And our tax written down value. Our year 1 capital allowance. This balance base will be 4,250. Now we subtract, what do we have? So we have 12,750. Then year 2. This one, that's how many percent again? 25% of it. On this figure, look at the low. 188. What do we have? 9,563. Don't forget, year 3, we have to sell, Abi. I say in the year of disposal, don't bother to boost capital allowance. So that how much have scrap now? Our scrap is a 4,000. So what do we have? 5,563. Abi. That balance what? Balancing allowance. So in view of that, our tax savings, how many percent? 30%. Our tax savings, 30%. Wait. 1,275. 16. Last one. 1670.1. 956.4. So for the what do you call it? For the running cost, for just add year 3 to this place. After our running cost for year 3, 3,750. That's on it. 1,125. So if you have that, you can now go and put our PV now. Don't forget the procedure again. When the running cost is payable in what? In advance, Abi. For the purpose of tax, use the same year, Abi. But for the purpose of PV, you have to move backward to the last year. So therefore, we have the cost of the assets. How much is the cost of the asset again? 17,000, Abi. Then the running cost. Year 1 come back to year 0, 1,900. Year 2, 2,400. Then 3,750. Don't forget your scrabble. Like last time. But let's start with the capital allowance first. Tax savings on capital allowance. What are timing? 1 year delay. Year 1 go to where? Year 2. That will be how much? 1,275. Year 3, 9,506.4. Then year 4, 1,670.1. Then tax is on only cost now. Tax savings on the running cost. The year 1 go to year 2 also 570, 720, 1125. Then the scrap value for the last year. Which year? Year 3, Abi. How much? 4,000. So therefore, our net cash flow now, our net cash flow, this one is 18,900 to cost 24, the cost 1,905, also the cost, right? Yeah.
2076.4.
20.
Oh, okay, it's 4,000. Sorry, it's
5,676.4.
276.4. 27,905.1. So our DCF now at 1%, 10%. This is 0.9091. Minus 8, 0.8264. They are followed by 0.7513, 0.630. So view of that place, can you do the river and multiply? This is what I will do for noise.
Year
2.
Yes.
I
I told you this is that.
Okay.
Is there. Mo gbàgbé ìdìbò wọlé ní wà lè gbé sókè. Year 4. Year 4, 1,909. No, it's 18,900. Year 1, 2,182.
Yes.
Year 2,
1,574.
1,574.
Yes.
Year 3, 4,265. So if you of that, I think we are going to go now to get our PVs. Let me put it here. The PV for year 3 now. Our PV of every 3 years. Yeah, look at 16,482 cost of it.
Yes.
Our equivalent annual cost would that be 16,482 divided by annuity for 3 years. 3.1699. What do we have? 5,200 like this. So if you are to replace every 3 years, our equivalent annual cost is 5,200. In view of that, between replacing every year, which gives us how much? 9,817. Every 2 years, give us what? 7,397. Every 3 years, give us what? 5,000. If you have to advise, which year we are then to be replacing? Every 3 years. And why? It's what I give us the least cost. The least cost. So it's not correct, Abi.
It's 2.4865.
Then you better consider
2.4869.
2 point.
No, as in 16.
This one.
Divided by
2.4869. Abi. That's what I mean. 6,628. Abi.
Yes.
I think see the least cost. Abi. See the least cost. See the least cost if you pay every 3 years. So I said, question number 1. Any one of us should solve it and bring to the class on Saturday morning. But the question here says that we should not ask. That's question number 1 in page 198. The question says we should not have. I now say that I'm not ignoring tax now. I'm bringing all these variables to it now. Number 1, tax rate is 30%, right? I mean, number 2, capital allowance is 25% on reducing balance. Number 3, running cost is payable in arrears, while the tax cash flow is payable in the same year that it arrives. That is, tax on what? Actual year basis. So please provide a solution to that question based on these assumptions and bring it along when you are coming for lecture on Saturday morning. Thank you very much for that one.